Hey guys, this is Chris with TravelRnFamily, coming at you guys with another video this week. So today we're going to talk about the moving and planning process of going from a permanent staff job to a travel nurse position with your family. And so hopefully you watched the first video defining your why. If you did, now you have your why, and now you need to go ahead and begin the planning phase. And how is that going to work with you and your family? So for us, we kind of laid it out in steps. For us, the first step was deciding what we were going to do with our home. Since we had purchased a house in Anchorage, Alaska, we needed to decide if we were going to sell it or if we were going to rent it out. And for us, we had decided that we were going to rent it out. So we contacted a property management company and we got it on the market. We ended up renting it out, and what that meant for us was that we needed to downsize all of our belongings. And so we spent a few weeks doing that. My wife had a notebook and she created a list of things that we were going to sell and things that we were going to keep. Mostly the big furniture and things of that nature, we sold everything. We did keep changes of clothes for everybody, shoes, some knickknacks, and a few toys and items like that. But for the most part, we sold everything. So for you guys, it's important to sit down and decide if you have bought a house, whether you're going to keep it and rent it out, or whether you're going to sell it. Now, we're not going to talk about a tax home during this video today, but that will be a video in the future. But the purpose of the tax-free stipend that you get being a travel nurse has to do with whether or not you are duplicating your expenses, your home expenses, such as a mortgage, a rent, and all of your bills, where your tax home is and where you're currently working as a travel nurse. But we'll go into a little more in depth later with that and kind of talk to you guys about how we've handled the tax home situation. Decide, are you going to sell your house? Are you going to rent it out? And what are you going to do with your things? Say that. For us, we decided it wasn't worth it to have a storage unit where we kept all of our items in while we were away. So we opted just to sell everything and leave a few little knickknacks with some in-laws, things that we felt were important to keep. And even before deciding what you're going to do with your home, you guys should set a departure date. If you guys are renting a house, as opposed to, you own your home and, you're paying a monthly mortgage on it, if you currently rent a place, that's kind of perfect because you can just set your departure date for whenever your lease is up, and that gives you however many months of leeway or head time to get all your ducks in a row and go ahead and get ready to travel. So set a departure date. Ideally, I think this should be between 6 and 12 months from the point that you guys have defined your why and decided that travel nursing is right for you and your family. So you've set a departure date, you've decided on what you're going to do with your home. Next, we need to move on to education. If you're watching this video, you probably have kids and you're trying to figure out how can I travel nurse as a family and bring my family with me. And education is a big part of that. Depending on the age of your child, you'll need to line up education options, whether it be unschooling or homeschooling or getting in contact with your current public school of where you guys are residents at to see if they have some online options. If they do, it usually requires that you guys maintain your residency in that city. But I would reach out to your school district and see what options they have there. Another option that some travel families do is they will move to an area for 6 to 9 months as opposed to the traditional 3-month period, and they will enroll their kids in each new district that they go to for that 6 to 9 months every time. If that's how you guys want to do it, that's fine. That's not how we've chosen to do it with our family. We currently do a mix of both homeschooling and road schooling. And what I mean by that is, we homeschool using an online curriculum. And if you want, you guys can leave a comment below and we'll reach out to you and share that link with you, the curriculum that we're currently using. And on the road schooling portion, what I mean by that is we typically, when we land in a new place, we go and we visit the important historical sites or museums, or we go on camping trips and explore that way. So not only are we doing math and language arts and things like that, but we're allowing our kids to explore every new area that we go to and learn about the animal habitats that are there, or the museums, or important historical markers to that city. So that's how we do it, but For you guys, it may take a minute to just go ahead and research on how you want to handle it. If you want to do a mixture of homeschooling and road schooling, if you guys want to use the public school option, whether it be, maintain your residency in your current town and use whatever online options that district has for you, or if you want to move to a place for 6 to 9 months and enroll your kids every time you move. So you have set your departure date, you have decided on how you're going to handle your current place of residence, and you have decided on an education option for your kids. Next up is the housing option while you travel. And again, we're going to handle the travel tax side of it in a future video as far as maintaining a tax home. But specifically for housing while you travel, there are a few different options you guys have. One of the biggest reasons people travel is because the travel stipend or the housing stipend that you guys will get is going to become a large part of your monthly income, and your agency that you work with will either pay that out to you on each paycheck, or they will provide housing for you monthly that you don't have to pay, which reduces the overall monthly amount that you make, but housing is covered. And that usually includes all bills and everything like that, and it's usually furnished. However, as a traveling nurse family, it would behoove you guys to take the travel stipend and find your own housing. And the reason for that is you'll make more money. So assume that your housing stipend monthly is going to be $2,000. If you can find your own housing, and let's say it's $1,200, that means you get to pocket that additional $800. And this is where, my wife Lauren has been really great about is she tends to research all the areas that we plan on going to. Yes. Nothing. She tends to research all the areas that we're going to through Airbnb, VRBO, corporate housing options, Furnished Finder, and even local Craigslist of areas that interest us, and finds us some of the best options. And usually those options are less than the housing stipend. So we end up making more money in the long run while finding our own housing. If you have an RV, that's also a great opportunity for you guys to take that entire housing stipend, because then you're just traveling to RV parks or national parks or city parks, things of that nature that allows RVs, and that's usually the cheaper option, and you get to get the most bang for your buck. So you guys need to sit down and decide how are you going to handle housing and what's the best option for you. So how are you going to get there? How are you going to get to your next assignment? For us, we decided to drive. Obviously, with 4 kids, a wife, and myself, airfare would be rather expensive, not to mention all the things that we need to carry to keep our family going. So I recommend that you guys, if you don't already have a good vehicle that will handle everything you need, that will carry everything you need, that you guys may be looking to investing in a good vehicle that not only does great on gas mileage, but it can carry everything you guys need from location to location. And whether you're going across the country each time or just a few hours away, it still makes a big difference when you have enough room in your vehicle to carry everything you need. So that's how you're going to get there. Now, do you have pets? That's going to become a big question, and that additionally adds another hurdle that you guys will have to deal with when deciding on traveling as a family. We don't have pets, and so it makes it really easy for us to pick up and go. Searching for home options, we don't have to disclose that we have pets and pay an additional fee. With pets, it might limit the places that you can stay, which is another benefit of having a vehicle that can pull an RV, because then you can just purchase an RV and you don't have to worry about being denied housing because you guys have pets. So you guys need to sit down as a family if you have a pet, and it'll just add some additional time to the planning process. You can travel nurse as a family with pets. It's just going to make it a little more difficult, but that's okay. If that's how you guys want to do it, then you'll make it work if it's what you want. So on certifications, you need to make sure before you contact your travel agencies that you have your BLS and your ACLS at a minimum up to date. And if you have any unit-specific or specialty-specific certifications, like for me, I have the CNOR, make sure that that is also up to date and ready to go. It will help you be more competitive for certain positions, and the more competitive you are, the higher dollar amount you can get per contract. So make sure you have all of that up to date and ready to go before you contact your recruiter, before you contact an agency. Make sure you have between 1 to 2 years of experience before you start this journey. Obviously, you can get a travel position with less experience, but the industry recommendation is 1 to 2 years. And it really does show if you don't have that much experience and you don't want it to hurt you. So 1 to 2 years of experience, make sure you have that. And then gather all of your vaccinations for yourself. Gather all the important documentation to prove that you've had your vaccines, to prove that you have all of your certifications and everything. Have it in one folder on your computer and a hard copy that you carry with you everywhere. That goes the same for your kids as well. What you need to do is gather all birth certificates, gather all social security cards, and gather all vaccination records if you vaccinate, and keep all of those together in a folder that travels with you. So when you go from new place to new place, you have that handy and ready to go. It's also a good idea to keep those important medical records with that same document of birth certificates and social security cards for your kids. So once you have all of this lined up and you have your date set and you know what your plan is, about 6 to 3 months before your first contract, I recommend contacting 3 agencies to begin the process of onboarding with them. For us, we use Blue Pipes. They have a list out of the top 100 agencies of 2018. So we went to their website and we found the top 3 agencies and we contacted each of those agencies. Now granted, we didn't use those agencies for this contract that we're on now in Dallas, Texas, but we are using those agencies for contracts that we're interested in outside of the Dallas area. We only didn't use them because we knew we wanted to come to Dallas and they didn't have any available at the rates that we liked. So once you get in contact with an agency, you need to find a travel-friendly recruiter, a family-friendly recruiter. In a future video, we're going to be discussing what questions you need to ask your recruiter to identify if they are family-friendly or not. And usually 6 months ahead of time is way too soon to be contacting a recruiter, but it does give you a good idea of whether you're going to like the company or not. So it's very important to find an agency that's going to work with you and a recruiter that is going to be honest with you. And again, we're going to do a video about that in the future. So just to recap, you've set your date, you have decided what you're going to do with your housing, you've got some great education options lined up, you know how you're going to handle housing, whether you're going to RV or find your own housing. You've gathered all of your important documents, your vaccines, your kids' vaccine records, their social security cards, their birth certificates, important medical documentation. You've decided on how you're going to handle pets if you have pets, and you now need to write it all down and stick to it. You have 6 to 12 months before you're going to be embarking on your travel journey. So you guys are one step ahead of the game. So from here, I would recommend that you stick to your list. You start selling items that you need to sell. You start identifying areas in the U.S. that you want to visit first. Sometimes it's easier to go, a few hours from home just to get your feet wet. We're not like that. For us, it's more about jumping head on. So we went from Anchorage to Dallas, Texas. That's pretty far. We crossed the country. So for you guys, if it's easier to just go a few hours away from home, then do it. But I think the most important thing is to stick to your plan. Develop a plan and stick to it. You guys can do it. Being a travel nurse family is difficult, but it definitely has its benefits. So this is Chris with TravelRnFamily. I'm going to go ahead and sign out. I just ask that you guys please subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear. And remember, with these videos, not only do we want to get you guys out on the road traveling as a family, traveling as a traveling nurse with your family in tow, but we want to add value to your life. So let us know what you guys want to hear. And again, this is Chris with TravelRnFamily. We'll see you guys later.
With the lights off.